everypony, it's me, Lady Heart, and today I will be doing a Thoughts and Feels episode entirely on Mare in the Moon, episode 1 and 2 of season 1, MLP. I have to say there's not a lot I can say about thoughts, like perceiving how to connect Mare in the Moon episode with every other pony. Other than I know way too many other ponies who ignored like having friends and focused way so much on their studies, though they did not have dragon flunkies slash assistants. I have to say, be nice, you know. So and when you didn't focus on your studies and you were the party ponies, you get, and I love you, Pinkie Pie, but you get Pinkie Pie. And she's smart in her own way, but really, she's lucky smart. It's kind of a different thing. So here we go, guys. You first meet, we first get this big book kind of opening scene, and we get the information about Celestia and Luna and how Mare in the Moon and the situation. And that, you know, it's been 1,000 years, and now, well, here comes the Mare in the Moon, Nightmare Moon, or the Mare in the Moon. Here comes Nightmare Moon to totally make everything dark again. And when she shows up, it's just a thing. I think really you spend all of the first episode kind of trying to focus on Twilight, who, first off, she goes, "Hey, princess, it's been 1,000 years, and this baddie is gonna come back and totally make everything dark again." Well, who's to say that's a bad thing, considering, you know, parties and whatnot. But, you know, Celestia goes, "Hey, Twilight, shut up. Go to this town and do my job for me." So Twilight travels all the way to Ponyville. Very lucky to get like this royal treatment where she's put on in this carriage where it flies over by these really two awesome stallions. That which is our first time meeting any stallions in the show. And then you have our second stallion, which would be later on Big Macintosh, and really isn't fully, you don't really get fully introduced to Big Macintosh until like not Ticketmaster, well, till episode 4, and whatever, that's the thing. So I have to say that I kind of felt like when I first watched this episode, I kind of felt like Twilight walking into Ponyville myself when Pinkie Pie comes right at you and she's like, and then runs away. Yeah, that's a thing. I would have just been like, okay, I have to go home now. Find the nearest train depot and go back to Canterlot because crazy ponies are crazy. And yeah. Then, well, she follows Celestia's orders and she goes to see Applejack and finds Rainbow Dash and gets her mane messed up by Rainbow Dash, and then she meets Rarity, who scares the living crap out of her. We find out now at this point that Spike has an interracial crush, and which is kind of interesting because the last I will quote scandal, end quote, that we've ever met in any fandom would be like Star Trek. And I'm comparing Star Trek like the very first season of Star Trek with, you know, Kirk and Uhura. You know, it's kind of like a little crazy. And I'm not talking about new generation Star Trek Trekkies, I'm talking about old generation Star Trek. That. But back to what I was talking about. Then Twilight finds Fluttershy. And I'm sorry, Fluttershy, when I first met Fluttershy, it was kind of like as I said before, the whole walking up to the pony and introducing yourself and meeting her. That was kind of essentially what the entirety of this episode was kind of just introductions. When you first meet Fluttershy, I wanted to hug her, and now that I know she makes a squeaking sound, I just know that every one of my Fluttershy plushies from now on till forever is going to have a little squeak toy in it, just like with squeak, because she's just adorable, and squeak toy sounds are adorable sounds. Fluttershy's shell, as we will call it, gets totally shattered when she meets Spike, the talking baby dragon. Yeah, who won't shut up? Now, I love Spike as much as the next pony, but I'm going to agree with everybody. Sorry, I'm a little too excited. I'm going to agree with a lot of the analysts and say Spike's thrown in just to be a gag. He's supposed to be funny, and when they tried to be serious about Spike and make him a serious member, it just doesn't seem to work. Spike, you're just there. You're really just there to push the main character, which, yes, we have main 6, but then you have the main character, which is definitely Twilight. You're there to push Twilight along and make sure she's on top of things. Well, Twilight gets home, totally brushes off Fluttershy to, well, it's not a home, it's technically the town library. Still, she gets there, and I don't even know how Pinkie Pie knew it, but she just party on, right? Pinkie, I wish I had a friend like you. Man, I'd go to a party every week. So, Twilight has to deal with the fact that she does not like social situations and really starts getting really stressed out and doesn't like to be there and doesn't want to be there. Oblivious to the fact that she's not pouring soda into her cup, she's pouring hot sauce into her cup. Poor Twilight has to run upstairs to deal with her hot sauce issue. And then to us, moments later, but maybe hours and hours later, in the episode, Twilight is told by Spike that it's time to go to the summer sun celebration. Now, that is exactly why Twilight was sent to Ponyville as this whole summer sun celebration thing. Well, Twilight was right. There's no sun, there's no Celestia, and what is this awesome Mare of Darkness doing on the balcony next? Okay, first I have another thing to deal with here. Rarity is there to introduce Ponyville to Princess Celestia. Mare should have been the one up on that balcony going, "Hey, this is Princess Celestia," and no, Rarity's like, she's not here. Where did she go? She's not here. This is a thing. We did not consistently follow it, but I understand a pilot episode when you see it, so whatever. So we get introduced to Nightmare Moon. Now, this is where episode 1 is ended. And it's good. We get to meet everybody, all the main 6. And you kind of get to see what they love and what they want to do with their lives and who they really are. And, oh God, Pinkie Pie's the party pony. And Applejack is the pony of the friends and family. And she's honest and down to the core. And she loves everybody. And she wants to feed you till you're fat. Then you got Rainbow Dash, who has this big dream of flying with the Wonderbolts, which, yeah, is a thing. And she likes to just be like, I'm going to clear the clouds in 10 seconds flat, which is the very first meme of the show. It's a pretty good meme, too. Then you got Rarity, who is a fellow unicorn who aspires to live in Canterlot and just marry like this stallion, in which we don't really find out too much about till later. Just she's all like, "Oh, Canterlot, we must share stories of Canterlot because I need to know a lot about Canterlot because I should live in Canterlot." And da da da. Then you got the Fluttershy, who, well, of course, the only thing that we actually get to know anything about Fluttershy is she's really shy. She loves birds. That's it. So there you have it. Our main 6 in episode 2 is finally where we get to learn about the elements, which is kind of what the first episode should have been more about, was the elements of harmony. And it was the elements of harmony was the thing that kind of stopped Nightmare Moon before. Well, now that Nightmare Moon is back, well, we gotta find the elements again. So the episode starts with Twilight running to the library with a very sleepy Spike, which kind of brought in this question when I first saw the episode. Is Twilight more like a mom, or is she more like a boss? It's kind of confusing. You are a baby dragon after all. It was kind of cute. She heads downstairs and tears apart the entire library looking for one book, which Pinkie magically finds, and it's Elements of Harmony, a reference guide, and it was under E kind of comment, which was kind of funny. They find out that the Elements of Harmony are located in the castle of the 2 Pony Sisters, which we learn in this season, that's the real name of it, is the Castle of the Pony Sisters. The Pony Sisters Castle is located in what is now called the Everfree Forest, which was actually then called the Everfree Forest, which is strange. After it is established by the entirety of the main 5 that they are going to be following their brand new friend Twilight Sparkle into the Everfree Forest, they head into the Everfree Forest. Our first element in which we have come into contact with is the element of honesty. How this happens is, well, the purple smoke that is now going to consistently follow and cause bad luck for the entirety of our crew is causing problems. And the first problem it causes is a cliff to break apart and crumble, almost killing Twilight Sparkle. Applejack saves Twilight by mentioning, well, you're going to be safe. If you just let go of me, you'll be safe. And which, yes, happens, and Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy catch Twilight, and next thing that they have to deal with is the Manticore, which is a dragon lion thing that, well, everyone goes to defeat and battles it, and, well, it doesn't work out until Fluttershy screams for them to stop, and finally notices that there's a giant purple thorn in the lion's paw. Now, I think this was a great nod to an old fairy tale of the mouse and the lion, where the mouse saves the lion, or helps the lion with the thorn in his paw, and the lion repays the mouse with kindness, which is what Fluttershy does, and becomes that element, which is our second element. Our third element would be laughter, and that has to call into play with our very first song, which is Giggle at the Ghostly, which is kind of funny. It's an ideal song of, if it looks scary, it most likely isn't scary. You're more afraid of it because you think it's afraid. You think of bad things, but when you don't think of bad things and you laugh at it, it just seems not so scary anymore. So that would be our third element. Our fourth element would be generosity, and this is displayed by Rarity and the serpent. I guess the word would be the serpent, who I have to say was the least the least traumatic situation they had to go through, but the most dramatic, which is this really fashionable dragon serpent thing that has simply lost half of his mustache, which could have just easily been dealt with by cutting off the other half at the exact same length, and instead of already ripping off a scale, which probably hurt like hell, and cutting off her own tail. Now, why, Rarity? But generosity, that's what it is. Our fifth and final element before the sixth element is loyalty, and Rainbow Dash shows a lot of loyalty to her friends when she turns down the request to join the Shadow Bolts, which is not the Wonder Bolts, which really I don't even see the point in why this was even a thing, because Rainbow Dash wants to be part of the Wonder Bolts, not the Shadow Bolts. But in season 2, Rainbow Dash dresses up like a Shadow Bolt, so here or there, I guess, whatever. They get into the castle and they find the statues of these 5 elements, and Twilight tries to set off the spark, which doesn't seem to work because, well, Nightmare Moon has stolen the elements and Twilight Sparkle and teleported them all the way to her in another part of the castle and destroys the elements. Well, the rest of the main 5 have, well, found out that Twilight is A, disappeared, and B, is in a different part of the castle and is chasing after them. During the time of the main 5 arriving to save Twilight, Twilight and Nightmare Moon are holding like this epic battle of magic, which doesn't seem to work out quite as much. Once the elements are broken, well, she's like, well, they can't be used, Nightmare Moon says. And Twilight's like, no. And she hears in the background her friends suddenly coming after her. And that's when we get the spark. This quote, spark, end quote. And that's in her eyes. And you see that it dawns on her face that friends are really important in life. They will save you. They will save you when you are down. So here comes the other main 5, and there they are. Honesty, kindness, laughter, generosity, and loyalty. All of which that she's just points out to Nightmare Moon. These are the spirits of harmony. And the spirits of harmony, which brings upon all the little broken pieces, and they surround them and start twirling around them. And she says the final element, because it doesn't work without the 6th element. The final element is the element of magic, and which happened with a deep inside her spark, knowing that friends are very important. You need them. This is causing the 6th element to appear, which appears in the form of a crown, unlike the other 5 elements, which were appearing in the form of necklaces. Suddenly we get a reoccurring moment from a past generation of My Little Pony, and that is the rainbow power, which, if everyone remembers the attack on Smooze, the rainbow power was kind of this thing that destroyed the Smooze. Well, here's Nightmare Moon, aka the Smooze, and must be broken. And once the Smooze is broken and all the goo is gone, Celestia appears, and Celestia says, wow, you've made it, Celestia congratulates Twilight on making friends and finding all the elements and making the 6th element appear and destroying Nightmare Moon and resurrecting Luna, which is, well, apparently to everybody else, a complete and absolute surprise. It's Celestia's sister. I mean, who do you think it was going to be? Now, this is a different form of Luna than we are used to now. I have to say it's probably because it's Luna at her very weakest. We've never seen them as fillies. So when you see Luna kind of like without her glowy mane and the darker coat and her taller stature, and it's a little daunting to know that there was once a time where Luna and Celestia looked dull and almost like they had no magic whatsoever, and now you have this that you see now, and it's pretty cool that you can tell with alicorns when they grow up and they start to mature more. And I think that's what's happening with Cadence, but that's a later story. My thoughts and feelings upon this episode are really just friends are important and you need them in life. No matter what kind of walk of life or what you do in your life, you really need a friend. You can't walk it alone. And I think that's the important part of this, and why I consistently watch the first episode, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, aka Mare in the Moon episode, is important to realize. It's important to realize that now the Brony community, which is, I'm very proud to say that I'm part of, is very much like this episode, and that's why I love it so much, is to know that we are all one point loners or didn't want to be around other people, and that's how you grow up, is understanding things and becoming different to life. And I was actually like that. I didn't like to be around people, and now I realize it's just really fun to be with people, and all I want to do is just hang out with more people. I love to travel now, and it's pretty cool. So, actually, this is my first time actually asking you guys a question. What do you think of this very first episode, quote, the pilot episodes of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, episode 1 and 2? Tell me about it. What do you think? What were you feeling at the exact time when you saw that? And if you're a brony now, was it the episode that made you become a brony? Which, to me, this was not that episode. I joined into the series a little later. Also, guys, next episode, you guys will be meeting a brand new friend, and she's just awesome. It will be her first time doing a review, and I wanted to introduce her to you guys before she even made one on her own channel, because I'm like that. I'm hoping it will be this Saturday. We might do a blind commentary. If not, you never know. We'll probably sit and watch Equestria Girls or something, and I have to do that at some point. But I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.